For this first micro lecture in Module 4, which is Forest Biomes and Forest Types, we're going to get into some of the terminology that you need to know in discussing these topics and talk about how forest types kind of came to be, what caused or what were some factors influencing forest formation. And there are principally five of these factors that you need to be aware of and need to learn. Mountains and mountain formation, erosion, glacial activity, environmental conditions, and especially human influence. In Europe, for example, human influence had a major impact on the forests, human impact as well as some massive extinctions that occurred during the Pleistocene of species. More recently, most of the forest in Europe has been cleared for agriculture and was cleared for infrastructure and other man-made or human-induced purposes. In some places in Europe, all you have remaining are some forests that were reserved as hunting reserves, and you don't see nearly the species diversity that you do here in the United States. In the temperate forest regions of China, really we only have fossil records to go by because so much of the initial forest or original forest was extinct or totally harvested or exploited. China's civilization in China has been around for thousands of years, and land is extensively terraced, and the land really shows the impacts of human influence in that area. To start to look at how forests were formed, it's really important to pay attention to the mountain ranges in Europe and in the United States. If you look at the mountain ranges that are represented on the right side of the page, take a close look of the mountain ranges on the right in the U.S. and then take a look and kind of see the mountain ranges of the map of Europe and see if you can clue in on what's going on there. You can pause here if you need to take a closer look. Here are a few more hints. If you look at European mountain ranges there on the right and North American mountain ranges on the left, what are you starting to see? It becomes pretty obvious that your mountain ranges in Europe tend to run east to west, whereas mountain ranges in the United States run north to south, and that had an impact during the Pleistocene or during the last ice age as the glaciers moved from north to south. In the United States, species were able to creep along the mountain chains. They weren't butted up against as they were in Europe. Once the glaciers ran into those mountain chains running to east-west, species could no longer migrate. I guess some animal or bird species or other animal species could, but plant species really couldn't. So that's one of the factors that's influenced species diversity when comparing, say, North America to South America. Some forest terminology that you need to be aware of. You can pause here and make notes of these, but some terminology related to forests include whether it's an evergreen forest or a needle-leafed forest, deciduous forests or trees that shed or drop their leaves, even-aged forests and uneven-aged stands. When forests are classified, they're typically classified into two, I guess, very general types, either pure stands or pure forests, where all the species are nearly the same, or the species composition is nearly the same throughout the forest. And then mixed forests or mixed stands consist of trees of two to more species. Some other terminology to pay attention to related to canopy structure. In a very well-developed or mature forest, and especially in the tropics, you tend to see kind of five major canopy layers. Especially in tropical areas, you have a kind of an overstory or emergent wolf tree layer of just scattered trees that have broken through the main canopy. You have the main canopy, which can sometimes be divided up into the subcanopy. Your understory consists of your smaller saplings or shade-tolerant trees. You have a shrub layer of much smaller stuff, and then a forest floor. So make sure you're able to identify the different layers or levels of the canopy in discussions with forest types.